Hello, friends. Excited to spend a little bit of time with you today. Uh, Today, I'd like to go over some of the work we do in Chapter 4 of the Xi books using selections. Let's go ahead and get our screen shared, and we will get started. So first, the assignment. Want to work through this one, golf scores, right quick. So what this one says is golf scores record the number of strokes used to get the ball in the hole. Expected number of strokes varies from hole to hole and is called par 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each score's name is based on the actual strokes taken compared to par. All right. So we'll go ahead and grab this and let's get started. So I'm going to be using Anaconda, and I have recently made a video that kind of explains you want to go to you want to use Spider 5.3.3. I was not able to use my base environment to get that to update or install. So to build a new environment, you just come into environments, click create, and then it'll let you use what you need to do. And then you can just launch Spider, and it should come in 5.33 or something else like that. So once Spider opens up, we can get started. So I'm going to I'll do this. Just comes up automatically. So file, save as, and where I'm going to put this, my computer happens to have 2 hard drives. See if I can find the other one here. So I'll put it over in my J hard drive, just to show you why. This is what I call my boot disk, and then I've got a storage disk. If you don't have 2 drives, don't worry about this. Just make sure you have a consistent place to put your code. I've got a folder I call Git that I'll keep all my GitHub repositories in, and then I've got a folder called SWASU Python examples, and you can usually come in here and find quite a few things from this. All right, for the Computer Science 1 class, there should be a folder here that I was expecting to see, and it's not here. And this is why I use GitHub. All right, so I made this folder, and I made it on a school computer, but it's not showing up here. So let's just say, hey, pull down my updates from the cloud. And it goes in and it says, okay, how's that? So I go up a level to help it refresh. Oh. Let's see. Which branch are you on? Okay, so I must not have gotten those changes pushed up. So what we'll do is we'll just create a new folder, and I'm going to call this CH04. And I'll open that folder. And then I'm going to call this, oops, there we go, golf scores.py. I don't like that stuff, so I'll get rid of it. There we go. So tell it to print hello, and we see down here that it does print hello. Oh, let's see. Is there a way to clear this? There we go. That's what I really wanted. Okay. So we know that this works. We don't necessarily need it anymore. I do want to have my golf scores. All right. Those are notes I probably should have cleaned up. Golf scores, record the number of strokes. Okay, so we'll probably have a variable called number of strokes equals input. Please tell me how many strokes you took. Okay, and then because I'm paranoid like this, print oh, it is not a fan of this. And that's actually not that important to me, so I'm just going to delete it. We'll save it. We're green across the board here, so we'll run it. And I'm going to say I took 5. You said you took 5 strokes. That's exactly what I like to see. Cool. The number of strokes used to get the ball in the hole. Cool. And then it says the expected number of the number of strokes varies from hole to hole and is called par for the hole. All right. So par. We're essentially going to use this same little block of code that we probably picked up in chapter 2. I'm going to call it par for the hole. All right, you said, let's see, you said, take that many strokes, par for the hole. Please tell me how many strokes is par for this hole. Okay, now I've got that. Run it. Please tell me how many strokes you took. Let's say I took 5. How many strokes is par for this hole? You know what? I don't like that. Please tell me what is par for this hole. I feel like that is a more orthogonal question. It's a little more different from the initial question. All right. So please tell me how many strokes you took. Let's say I took 3, and please tell me what is par for the hole. 5. Cool. So I'll clear that just to keep that clean. All right. This is given 2 integers that represent the number of strokes used. Write a program, and it wants us to print error. Okay, so lots of fun things to think about and try. And we actually had a good discussion in the class lecture about this. It says the number of strokes is 2 less than par. So I'm going to say, all right, let's call it stroke difference equals, and it's the number of strokes is 2 less than par. So I'll say par for the hole minus number of strokes. The F print is just doing a formatted print that lets me change out a variable for a number. So is the current stroke difference is, so all right, so let's save that. So I'm going to say that I took 3 strokes on a par 5 and I had a mistake. It's saying something here. It says, hey buddy, you're trying to do math on stuff that's not math. So what we need to do is probably when these variables get read in, convert them to a number type. So tidy that up, run it. I took 3, par 5. Cool. So the current stroke difference is 2. So now I can come down here and I can say if, I'll say 2 is the same thing as stroke difference. And the reason I do the number first is if you try to assign a variable to a number and you're like, okay, the number 2 no longer represents the number 2, now it represents something else, the computer is saying, no, you can't do that. All right, so print eagle. Okay, so now I can run this. And 3, 5. Cool, that is what we would expect. So if we want to string together a number of these and have them working together, we can use elif. Stroke difference, and we just need to print Birdie. And let's test that right quick. Oops. Keep that work area clean. So I took 4 strokes this time on a par 5. Birdie, I like that. We're going to follow this, use this pattern. So I'll paste it and just to make it run a little faster. If 0 equals stroke difference, then that is going to be a par. And so I'm going to say I took 5 on a par 5. That gets us par. And again, I'll use this pattern. And now we're going to try -1. And that is a bogey. Okay. So clean this up just to keep it tidy. This time I'm going to take 6 on a par 5, and that is a bogey. Okay, so that is what we would expect. So this says if this is the case, do this. Else if this is the case, do this. Else if this is the case, else this is the case. Now it says we're supposed to print error. And so I'll just come down here. I'll say else print error. Okay. So we'll test that last case that we just added. And I'm going to say I took 7 on a par 3. Says that's not good. All right. If you're using the zyBooks to tidy this up, you can just pop in some or pop out some print statements. And then, so this is how I would do it if I had a zyBook. because iBooks doesn't actually allow you to have inputs or input messages, I should say. It doesn't actually change the code. So we'll clear this up and see how it runs now. The reason I don't like this is because now it's waiting for our inputs. And so I'm going to test our input that I can look at my code. I know the magical incantation they're using for the iBook automated test is going to be, I used 3 strokes on a par 5. Of course, the result is eagle. So anyway, to make sure that everybody else has access to this, I'll come in here and I'll say, this is on GitHub. And I'm on the dev branch. So tidy this up right quick. So this is one of the reasons why I encourage you in CS1 to start practicing with this, because it can be a little bit confusing. It is not happy with my golf scores merge. So let's see if we can see something in the code. Yeah, this is the code that I used in class versus the code that I just created now. The code that I used in class is not bad. The code that I use now is pretty much the same. So I'm going to just, let's see. Dust off that code for sure. And let's see. Golf scores. Yeah, I'm just tidying this up. Then one last trick. There we go. So I've cleaned that up, run it. So 3, 5, eagle, cool. All right. So I had a merge conflict because I really did write that file in school today and I was going to try to pull it down. So the fun thing about this, and the reason why I enjoy doing this, is now we can come out here, github.com. You know what? It's not going to let me sign in. So I'm not actually going to go to this. Instead, I'm going to do swasu / actually, that should get me where, yep. So I'm not actually signed in. This is just going to github.com/swasu. And this is a public repository. So SWOSU Python examples is a public one inside SWOSU. Chapter 4. Now we can have golf scores up, golf scores. And we can see here's the code that we just wrote. So, all right, friends, I hope that's beneficial in helping you get a little bit started with the golf score problem. Thank you all for your time and have a good day. I do want to make a note. One of the things that I did, I tried to use kind of the text of the question, think it through, work it through one step at a time. The important part is not the syntax of how do you get an if statement and an if else statement and things like that. The important part for you as programmers is figuring out, okay, how can I split the problem apart? How can I deal with individual parts? And then once you're dealing with one very small thing, such as how do I do a comparison? Okay, well, Google that. Thank you all for your time, friends. Have a wonderful day.